What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's video, we are continuing the story of Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, issue number 2, by one of the best writers currently working in the comic book industry today, Wenwu Yang. But before we get into the world of Kung Fu, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that's happening on this majestic and lovely channel. And because we've managed to cross over 1,000 subs, let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan as we try to get 200 more subs before 2022 is over. Thus, without further ado, let's dive into the world of Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, issue number 2. Our story begins in an undisclosed location where we see Shang-Chi and Master Ling inside a cave, which by the way is the same cave from back in 2020 Shang-Chi's mini, back in issue number 4 I believe. Yeah, the more you know. Now the two of them are in this cave and we find out that Shang has just finished locking away the 10 rings in a highly secured vault. And in addition to that, Shang has set up multiple watchdogs in case any baddies are able to get past the steel doors. Basically, Shang-Chi is being extra cautious, but more so because whenever he uses the 10 rings, he feels amazing, and no, not in a good way. Rather, you could probably say it's like taking cocaine, but instead of just going insane for a bit, you start becoming more like your evil father, whilst controlling 10 weapons of mass destruction. Basically, Shang doesn't trust himself and he doesn't want to take any chances. By the way, folks, don't do drugs. The following day at the HQ of the 5 Weapon Society in New York, Master Ling walks in on Shang's meditation to let him know that he has a visitor. And no, it's not his girlfriend Delilah, it's MI6 agent Leiko Wu, who back in the day, Shang used to have a thing with, although it was more of a dysfunctional love triangle, something that Shang-Chi has now grown way past. Now we quickly find out that she's not here just to say, hey, what's up, you know, wanna grab a bite to eat? Hell no, she's strictly about business, because she's here because she needs Shang-Chi's help. Because fellow agent Clive Reston, an old rival of Shang-Chi and, Wu's ex-husband, has been captured by the villainous Carlton Velcro. And hot damn on a stick, Wenwu Yang, what a callback. Check it, folks. Carlton Velcro was a villain from the Master of Kung Fu comics, who fancied himself as an aristocrat, but more so the kind who was into drug trafficking, where he could use the money he made to build himself an island fortress on the Gulf of Lion, south of France. Basically, he's a bad dude who MI6 and Shang-Chi have had to contend with many times in the past, and now they'll have to face him yet again for another time in order to save Clive. Thus, both Leiko Wu and Shang-Chi manage to sneak through the same tunnel that they've used in prior missions. But remember, this is a comic book, so action is bound to happen, as you see Carlton's security forces show up to apprehend our heroes. Now, back at the 5 Weapon Society HQ, we bear witness to a group of hand ninjas who are about to leave the base and escape via their chopper.
Get to the chopper!
But that's when Master Ling shows up and gives them all the beatdown, warning them that if their leader doesn't stop them from trying to apprehend the 10 rings, then our society will declare war. However, we learn that the ninjas were actually successful in obtaining the coordinates to where Shang-Chi has stored the 10 rings, which is weird because, the way that they did it, but we'll get to that in a second. Because picking back up with Shang-Chi and Leiko, after fighting off a number of baddies, the two are able to reach the main room, the self-entitled throne room, if you will, of Carlton Velcro. But not only do we see the baddies, but we also see a tied up Clive as well. And just like that, and like how every James Bond movie villain should, handle the situation, our heroes fall through a trap door, landing straight into a pit filled with Black Panthers, who are just so hungry. Meanwhile, in the Appalachians, where the 10 rings are stored, those sneaky hand ninjas from before arrive at their destination. However, once they enter the cave with night vision goggles and highly effective machine guns, again, very much unlike the Hand, the ninjas are immediately attacked and ravaged by the watchdogs, for what was originally stone statues become raging demons as blood and war breaks out. Now this is where we switch back and forth between what's happening with the Hand and what's happening over in France, with what's happening with Shang-Chi and Leiko Wu. And while Shang is winning the day on his front, the cave situation isn't going so well, because we soon find out that only one of the Hand ninjas was able to survive. And it's very much like from that scene in Ants, such a great movie from the 90s, where in that movie, Z, he's the only survivor. Both the ants and the termite armies are decimated. Damn, what a callback. That's a really good movie. And guess what? Sylvester Stallone, he voices an ant. It's pretty great. So basically, that's the sort of thing that's happening right here, right now. And so with that, the lone hand ninja blows up the vault door, and he is able to obtain the 10 rings. However, we also learned that these hand ninjas, well, they actually weren't members of the Hand. Instead, they were MI6. Thus, the lone survivor is revealed to be Agent Black Jack Tar, another member from the old Master Kung Fu comics. Back at the fortress, after escaping all the villains' traps, Shang-Chi brings forth some ass-kicking to Carlton Velcro. However, it's during this fight where Shang pulls off a kick that damages a metal plate shown attached to Velcro's head. But this isn't just some random plate. This device is instead a mind-controlling device, a device being used by those of MI6, meaning there was no danger to be had. Clive wasn't really in trouble. Instead, this whole kidnapping was a ruse, in order to distract Shang-Chi. Basically, MI6 needed him occupied while Black Jack Tar could get the ring's location and steal them without Shang-Chi getting in the way. And despite Shang making the case that, his father's dead and that he's now in charge of the Five Weapon Society, MI6 isn't willing to take that chance because who's to say that someone underneath Shang won't try to usurp, like one of Shang's guards from the previous issue? Like, who's to say there won't be like 5 more like that? And so with the help of Black Jack Tar, MI6 betrays Shang-Chi, leaving him behind to face a no longer mind-controlled Carlton Velcro. And yeah, it's safe to say that the villain is not going to treat our hero with a gentleman-like approach. And that, folks, was the end of Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, issue number 2. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly, truly means the world to me. So yeah, this issue is definitely different to what we've sort of been accustomed to for the most part when it comes to Marvel and their new direction for Shang-Chi. And whereas in recent stories, we've been focusing more so on reinventing the character of Shang-Chi, making him more modern and relatable and less racist, adding some cool lore and Chinese mythology to it, and stuff, stuff like Tao La and the 10 Rings, the issue continues that, but it also welcomes back the sort of spy espionage that was heavily influenced in the older comics, back during the Master of Kung Fu. Because in case you guys didn't know, back in the 70s and the early 80s, during the Master of Kung Fu ongoing series, which at the time was Shang-Chi's main book, because his dad was such an asshole and an international villain, and he had, copious amounts of resources, Shang spent a lot of his time teaming up with those from MI6. Characters like Leiko Wu, Black Jack Tar, and Clive Reston. They were basically the James Bond-esque characters that Shang would work with in order to stop his dad in his many attempts at world domination. There was also the spy thriller, sexiness, and like a sort of like a sexy romanticism to the book. Something that was very much of that time and likely doesn't particularly translate well in today's format. And so I am happy and excited to see how Yang will continue to utilize that era of Shang-Chi in today's modern way of telling comic book stories. Clearly, Gene Luen Yang is a student of comic book history. I mean, the guy does teach a comic book class in college, and he is someone who probably does his research. So I have no doubt that he'll be able to find a way to somehow make it all work and have it play out the way that we want it to. Overall, it's great stuff. And if you like Shang-Chi, and if you're a fan of James Bond storytelling, then this series is definitely for you, and you might want to check it out. But yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 3? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity, giggity goo.